Okay, so let just to give you a quick overview of what Excel is about. So Excel basically is a business intelligence tool developed by Microsoft. So it's used for analytic purposes. It's used for creating reports. It is used for product management. Um, it is also used for developing um, um, automated sheets or workbook, right? So what that means is that you can use Excel to create to do certain analytics using what we call Power Query and Power Pivot, right? So you can generate insights using Excel and visualize them using what we call um, pivot table and pivot charts, right? You can also create a report with Excel. So what that means is that after you've created your visuals, you can now develop a story around it, right? You can also use it to do some advanced analysis like hypothesis testing, and stuff like that. So, and then you can also use it for product management. What that means is that you can use Excel to manage a product life cycle. So you have the the title of the project, the resources on the project, the timelines, the status of the project, and stuff like that. So as as um as people work on the projects, you are able to track, the progress and stuff like that. And then we can also do conditional formatting, with Excel. You know. So basically, these are things that you can do in Excel. But as a data analyst, your role, if you're going to be using Excel, is to be able to understand how you can leverage Excel to do simple calculations, right? You can do calculations, you can aggregate data, you should be able to um, clean and transform data. You should be able to clean and transform data with Excel. You should be able to connect Excel to other sources as well, right? So you can, clean, transform the data. Also, you should be able to create um, pivot table and pivot charts for your analytics and reporting. Also, you should be able to create a dashboard, an interactive dashboard, right? You can develop an interactive dashboard that can serve like an overview of the historical data that you have,
So I'm
or
so
given.
sorry. Are you sharing your screen? Because your screen is blank. Oh.
Okay, well, I'm not talking
Can you
to
hear
my
me?
screen. I can hear you. Can you hear me as well?
I can hear you. I was just letting you know that your screen is blank if you're presenting anything. I can't see.
No, no, I'm not presenting yet. I'm just telling you an overview of Power
Okay,
Query.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Understood,
I mean,
understood.
an overview of Excel, sorry. So I'm going to share my screen now. So I'm going to share my screen now so you can see.
Okay.
So I was just giving you an overview of what Excel can do. So you know what you need to understand with Excel and how you can use Excel, leverage Excel to do analytics, right? But that's the goal. Because Excel can actually do so many things, but your focus is that you should be able to learn how to use Excel to connect to different data sources, um, learn how to create reports, do analytics and create reports or dashboard, interactive dashboard. You should be able to also know how to clean and transform data with Excel, right? So these are the things that you need to know, right? And also maybe to perform simple calculations, do data modeling, how you can model data and stuff like that. So these are the things we're going to be looking at, right? As a um, data analyst, right? So these are the things we're going to be looking at. So, and then we're going to be creating reports. We're going to be creating dashboard at the end of the whole learning for this particular course. And they are going to create a presentation, right? So create a video presentation where you can present, you know um you know um present your findings, and your recommendations to stakeholders. All right. I believe you can see my screen now.
Still showing just your photo, actually.
You showing my what?
Your photo, like just your picture.
Uh,
Is your network? What network do you use? Sorry.
I'm using that. I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm just not seeing your screen. Like there's nothing showing on your screen. It's showing that you're presenting, but then what's showing is just your photo. Let me
Okay.
attempt joining on my phone to see
Okay. Let me stop sharing
if
again.
okay, I can see your screen now. No, I can see your screen now. Data import from various sources.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see your screen now.
Okay. All right. So like I said, there are certain things you need to know about Excel. So I've mentioned them. So now we want to go into what we call Power Query fundamentals, right? Power Query fundamentals. So now in Excel, there's what we call Power Query. All right, in Excel, there's something called Power Query. Uh, I'm sure you're not familiar. I'm sure you are not new to Excel, right? I'm sure you're not
No, I've
new to
used Excel.
But
No.
now in the sense of using Excel to do data analytics is what we want to really focus on, right? And like I said
Yes.
last class, there will be dirty data, there will be messy data. Your role as a data analyst is to be able to pick those data, historical data, and clean and transform
And
them. Yes, you clean and transform it, and then now use it to perform data analysis. All right, so that's your role. So, and you have to do that diligently, because if you don't properly clean and transform your data, there's a possibility that your reports, right, or your analysis become biased. And one of the things you have to mitigate against is to ensure that there are no bias in your report, all right, or in your dashboard. So you have to mitigate that, right? You have to mitigate that. You don't create assumptions that are not properly validated, right? So you need to mitigate against bias, whatever kind of bias, be gender bias, be customer segmentation bias. It could be all kind of bias, right? Any kind of bias, right? So your own is to be able to ensure that you're able to properly clean and transform the data, right, in a way that properly represents the whole population, right? So now in statistics, we have what we call population and then we have what um, we call statistics. All right. So there's population, there is statistics. Now, population is a collection of a group of people or set of items. Are we together?
Yes, population is a group of people or set of items
Or collection of set of items, right?
or
So
collection of people.
yeah, of set of
Noted.
items. So example, a football team could be a population, right? A school could be a population. Do you understand? A set of tools, do you understand, could be a population. Do you understand? So let's say, for example, in a school, you can say, oh, we have 300 students. That is the population of that school. Do you understand? Uh-huh. In
Yeah.
in in the let's say in a country or in a nation, as we have 2 point something million, that is a population of that country, right? Now, what we call statistics, right? There's something called statistics. Statistic is not just a branch of mathematics, right? That involves collection, gathering of data, representing data in a way that people can easily understand using visuals or charts. No, it's much more than that, right? Statistics is also a measure, all right? It's a measure of the sample of a population. Are we together? It is a measure of the sample of a population. So there's something called sample, right? So sample is a subset of an entire population. Do you get that?
Yeah.
So sample, when they say something is sample, is a subset, is a part of the what of the entire population. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a data set called, let's say, communication and brand marketing data set, right? Now this data set contains different columns. Let's say it contains like 10 columns, right? And then it contains like 1,000 rows. Okay, 10 columns and
Yeah.
1,000 rows. Now, that is a population. That data set, the entire data set is a population. Are we together? The entire data set is the population, right? Now, if I now say, okay, I pick two columns out of the entire data set. Now, that two columns, we have also 1,000 rows, right? So that two columns with 1,000 rows is a sample of the entire population. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Good. So that brings us to what we call inference statistics. Inference statistics. So we have what we have two types of statistics. Let me share my whiteboard. I hope you are taking note of what I'm saying.
Yes, I'm taking notes of what you're saying.
Okay, good. So I want to share my whiteboard. So we have two types of statistics. Number one, we have what we call descriptive statistics. And then number two, we have what we call inference statistics or inferential statistics.
Descriptive and
Inference statistics.
descriptive and
Can you see my
inference.
whiteboard?
I can see your whiteboard now.
Okay. So we have descriptive and then we have inference.
Inference.
Inference. So let me expand this a bit. So descriptive and inference, right? So now descriptive statistics is similar to the definition I gave for descriptive analysis. You remember in the last class, we talked about descriptive analysis, right? Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
Shagun, hold on, please. Shagun,
okay, yeah.
Shagun, Please, sorry, please come again. The line was cracking.
Okay, can you hear
Hello?
me now?
Oh,
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, please.
Okay, I said, do you remember that we talked about descriptive analysis in the last session?
Yes. Yes, I remember that we spoke about
Okay.
descriptive analysis.
Okay, so I want you to tell me what you remember about descriptive analysis.
Okay, so descriptive analysis is basically what happened. So we're trying to explain to the whoever it is that we are presenting to why XYZ happened in our entire analysis, should I say report or dashboard. We are trying to explain to them why XYZ happened.
Okay, why what happened, right?
Um yes.
Why what happened is actually different from what happened. Do you understand?
Okay,
So,
okay, so what happened is descriptive. Like we're
okay,
trying to explain to them what has happened.
okay, good, good. So, in doing that, what that means is that you want to understand the events, right, that is taking place within your historical data. So let's say, for example, you want to know how much money was spent or was generated in this month or in the last 2 weeks. So in doing that, right, you have to do what we call descriptive analysis because you need to calculate the total sales for last 2 weeks to be able to know, right, to be able
Yes.
to um how much was generated, and you have to compare. You can also compare it with another particular data and say, okay, um the sales, the total sales as against 2 weeks, right? Total sales as against month, the entire month. Total sales as against the first quarter. Can you see? What that means is that
Yes.
I'm comparing two data, right? I'm comparing dates, I'm comparing total sales. I'm comparing dates and total sales. I'm comparing dates and total sales. Dates could be weeks, dates could be quarter, dates could be year, dates could be month. I hope you get what I'm trying to say.
Yes, so for example, if we're running like a marketing campaign and we're
Mhm,
trying to do descriptive analysis for that
mm,
for that marketing campaign, we're
mm.
basically telling them what has happened in the space of the time that we have been running the campaign.
Thank you. Thank you. Clap for yourself. So that is how it works because you can also tell them the outcome of the marketing campaign you've been running for the past 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month. All right. That kind of analysis is what we call descriptive analysis. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. Now, like I said, I was talking about population and sample, right? And I gave you an example. Like when you have an entire data set, that is a population, right? And then when you pick maybe two columns from the entire data set, that becomes your sample. And I said that statistics is a measure, right? Is a measure, is a calculated measure from the sample of a population. Is a what? Is a calculated measure
Calculated
from
measure.
yeah, from the sample of a population. For example, price. If it's a total price, right? That is statistics. That total price is statistics. If you say average price, that average price is statistics. Do you get that?
Yes.
Good. So, because people always feel that statistics is just a branch of no, it's not just a branch of mathematics. It's also a calculated measure. So when you do sum, when you do average, right? When you do mean, when you do maximum, minimum, that is also statistics. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Aha. So now you cannot use these statistics to make inference or to make conclusion or to draw conclusion of the entire population. Can you see that now? You can use the statistics to draw conclusion of the entire population. And now, let me give you an example. So if I say the average price, right, of let's say of a product, right? Of a product. Now that product is actually a column in your entire data set. So let's say you have a column called products, right? And then you have another column called sales. And then you're saying that, okay, the average sales, right? The average sales is so value. Now that average sales is actually speaking, could be used to draw a conclusion of the entire data set and say that, okay, this data set for the product, the average sales that was generated is 2 million. Do you understand?
Yes.
So that is what we call
We
inference
use
statistics. So we use descriptive statistics to draw conclusion of the entire population. All right. So that is what we call inference statistics. Now, let me give you clearer understanding. Inference
okay. I was
statistics.
thinking I don't understand. Well, please continue.
Okay, I will give you clear understanding. So there could be assumption, um, there could be assumption, right, about, let's say, a particular data, right? There could be assumption. You understand? Now, this assumption, we call them hypotheses. Do you understand? We call them what? Hypotheses. Now, when you test your hypothesis, basically you're testing your assumption, and then you are testing your assumption to be sure that it is what? It is valid. Do you understand? Now, when you test your assumption and you discover that it is valid or it is invalid, that conclusion you have made from the testing that you've done, whichever testing you are doing, testing could be any statistical models, right? Whichever statistical model testing you are doing, you can now use it to make a conclusion of the entire population. That is what inference statistics is talking about. Do you understand? And say that, oh, um, we discovered that the average age of the male, all right, is actually greater than the average male of the female. Can you see that? Now, that conclusion is not just a sample conclusion, it is the entire data conclusion. It's like somebody saying that Nigeria has a population now, right? You now said, okay, the average age of the um of women, right, is greater than the average age of men. Now, women and men population could be different values, right? So men and women are two different samples in the entire population, isn't it? And
Yes.
then you now say you want to calculate their average age. Now, by the time you do your average age, right, you now discover that, oh, the average age of men is actually greater than the average age of women. Now, by the time you will draw your conclusion, you're going to draw a conclusion on the entire population of Nigeria. Why? Because you could say that, oh, in Nigeria, the average age of women is actually greater than the average age of what? Of men. After you have validated your what? Assumption. Does that make sense?
So how do you validate?
So the validate is an assumption. You are validating an
Okay.
assumption. Do you understand? An assumption is a statement that could be true or false.
Yeah, we're not sure. Yeah, we're not sure. So how do
Exactly.
we validate the assumption is what I'm
So
asking.
good. How do we validate is where we now say we do testing. So testing means that you are not bringing in a statistical model to test your validation. So for example, with this example I gave last now, you find the average age of men, Abby. You find the average age of women, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then you will now compare the two. So by the time you compare the two, you now say, well, oh, mean of women is actually greater than mean of women. That is one way to validate an assumption. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Okay. I understand. I understand the validation of assumption. My
Mhm.
question now is that with all that you said, what does like how does inference stand out as a statistic, as a type of statistic rather?
Okay, how you stand out is basically drawing inference from your descriptive statistics. So they work hand in hand. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you draw. So after you've done your descriptive statistics, now you now draw your conclusion from your descriptive statistics you've done. So now you're not bringing in that conclusion over the entire population, not just a sample again. Do you get it now? So that's drawing of a conclusion based on the statistics that you've done, right? The descriptive statistics you've done, right, on the sample of a population is what you're now using as your inference to draw conclusion on the entire population. So that is how it works. Do you get it now?
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
It's a bit
So
sketchy, but I think I'm getting it.
you will get it. It's not difficult. Like I said, there are different statistical models, right, around drawing conclusions about an entire population. But the simple example I can give you now is when you perform a descriptive statistics, right? You can now use that descriptive statistics to draw conclusion of the entire population. Now, let me just show you a diagram. So let's say this is I want to draw something here. I want to show you a table. All right. Just is 3 columns table. So you have rows and columns.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say this part here is region, region. And then let's say this part here is views. Hmm? And then let's say this part here, let's say this part here is impressions. And then let's say this last part here is ROI. Hmm? Now let's say this is a data. This is a data set. Now, if I now say, okay, I want to calculate the total views for a particular region. All right, total views, total views. All right, for regions or per regions, right? Now, this result I'm going to get, let's say the total views equals to, let's say the total views, let's say the total views 24 million views. 24 million.
Mm-hmm.
These statistics here, by the time I'm going to, this, let's just call this old stuff, this data set, a marketing campaign for um, marketing campaign for marketing campaign for clickbait ads. Now this data set is a marketing campaign for clickbait ads. So now we said that the total views is what is 24 million. Now by the time you want to now make your conclusion of the entire population. Now this one is the descriptive here, 24 million, right? Now if you
Yeah.
want to do your inference statistics, you now say that the the total views for the marketing campaign run by click 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 Vates ads is 24 million. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So this one like this now, all right, this guy that I wrote here, this conclusion now, is actually an inference statistics. Why? Because you were not sure of the total views, right? But you were able to calculate the total views. Somebody can say, oh, I think we had 50 million. I think we have 2 million. But you said no, let's calculate it to validate, to be sure that that assumption is either true or false, right? You went
Mhm.
on and you calculated it, right? And then you scored that is 24 million. Now you're now using that statistics to draw a conclusion and say, oh, the total views that was generated for this marketing campaign after 2 weeks is actually 24 million. This guy is what we call inference statistics. Do you understand?
Because it has been validated.
Thank you.
Okay.
It has been validated using statistical model. Now, the statistical model we use there is just a descriptive statistics. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes. Yes, I
That is what
understand.
I've been trying to explain. So, descriptive statistics is just one part of statistics. All right. So there are other kind of testing that you can do, right? There are other things that you can do or analysis that you can do that can help you validate an assumption. Do you understand? So there's something called regression analysis. Regression analysis basically is saying that you can compare two variables together, two columns together, and see whether the relationship is positive or negative. Now, that two columns, let's say views and impression, right? You want to see how related they are, isn't it? Whether views is the one driving impression, or impression, or impression is the one driving views, or as views increases, impression increases, or as view increases, the impression decreases. You want to validate that. You are not sure. You want to validate that assumption. Then you now perform what we call regression analysis. Now, that regression analysis is a statistical model. Are we together?
Yes.
By the time you now do that, let me just give you a diagram. By the time you do this regression analysis, probably you have a graph like this. All right, you have a graph like this. So this side is, let's say this side is your views, and then this side here is your impressions, right? And then by the time you did the analysis, you discover that it is actually positive. So you have, let me use dot instead. So you have dot here, dot here, dot here, dot here. So it shows that it is increasing, right? It shows that it is increasing. Okay, it shows that it is increasing.
Yes.
It shows that it is increasing. Now you have this dot. Now this is actually a scatter chart. Now it's called that it is what it is increasing. Now this discovery can be your conclusion of the entire population of this data, and say from from the validation you've done, right? From the regression analysis you've done, you discover that as views increases, impression increases. The answer for the marketing campaign run by Cleavage. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that regression analysis is just another example of statistical model that you can actually run. Do you understand?
Okay. Yes, I
Yeah,
understand. So we use
exactly.
regression analysis to be able to validate the what's
Exactly.
it called, assumption that was made, or the
Exactly.
yes. Okay.
Whether it is views that is, making impression to increase, or impression is
Or
what,
vice
you know,
versa.
exactly. So people have that assumption, they are not sure. So that's why you, as a data analyst, you can't run on assumption. So if even though you have an assumption, you have to ensure that it is well validated. So that if you are communicating from a fact. You're not communicating from your head. Do you understand? You're not communicating from what you think. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
All right. So now, what brought me here, right? So I was just explaining the difference between descriptive and inference statistics. So you now know the difference between descriptive and inference statistics. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Now, let's come back to Power Query. Let me know if you can see this part of my screen. Can you see this part of my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Now in Excel, like I said, there are different features in Excel. So Excel has ribbons and tabs. So let me launch my Excel. You can also launch your Excel if you have it. I believe you should.
I
So
do.
Excel have what we call ribbons and tabs. Ribbons and tabs. So I'm going to click on a blank workbook. I believe you can see my Excel workbook.
Yes, I can.
Now, all these things here from file, home, inserts, page layout, formulas, we call them tabs. We call them what?
Tabs.
Tabs. Yeah, tab. This is a tab. Formula tab, data tab. So if I tell you go to home tab, you just click on home tab. If I say go to data tab, click on data tab. You can say go to view tab. Do you understand? All these are tabs. Now,
Yeah.
under each tab, you now have what we call ribbons. Under each tab, now what we call what?
Ribbons.
Exactly, ribbon. So all these things like this, wrap test, made center, conditional formatting, all these are ribbons. You understand? All these
Yes.
are ribbons.
Ribbons.
Exactly, exactly. So you need to understand that. So we have tabs, we have ribbons, right? And each of these ribbons perform different stuff, right? Different stuff. So just just to give you a quick run of some descriptive statistics and um, what you can do with them, right? We'll just do something very simple. Let's say this is a cell, right? So cell A1, right? This is cell A1. You can see if I click on this side, this is cell B1. If I click on this second row, this is cell A2, right? If I click on this side, this
Yes.
is A2. So all these things here are called cells, right? Now the entire lines that you are seeing here, they are called grid lines. You understand? They are
Okay.
called grid lines. So this is a grid line. It's looking like, the way you have a graph sheet. You remember graph sheet when you're in secondary school that you plot
Yes.
a graph. Yeah, there's a sheet where you plot your graph on. So these things are called grid lines. We have the horizontal grid line and then we have the vertical grid line. You understand? So horizontal grid lines and vertical grid lines. So yeah, so this is grid lines. Now, let's say we have, I will just write some few data here. So let's say we have clicks here. Okay, let me just put region first. Region, audience, audience. Let's say we have marketing campaign type, marketing campaign type. Let's say you have views, then maybe clicks, and then impressions. So I'll just populate like 6 rows. So let's say region, let's say Calabar, let's say Lagos, let's say Abuja, and then Lagos again, uh, Abuja, and then Lagos. Okay, so let's say audience. Let's say we have men, women, um, um,
Your
children.
screen is frozen. Abi, is my network. Your screen
Screen.
is frozen.
Are you sure it's my screen? It's not my
Yeah.
screen. It's not my screen now.
Abi, is my network. It's probably my own network. I'm saying
So
on my end, like your screen isn't moving, but please carry on.
yeah, but you can hear what I'm saying.
I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine.
Okay. So so we have men. I think it's network. So men, women, men, men, all right, women. Now this one here, this guy here that I highlighted is
Yeah.
actually your column headers. Okay, so let me just, so this is a column header. Okay, so this is a column header. This guy is column header. Do you understand? Mhm. So now let's say marketing campaign type. Let's say, can you give me example, two examples of marketing campaign type? Two examples of marketing campaign type.
Two examples of marketing campaign types.
Yes, example.
Um, let's say we can do it like a social media marketing
Okay, social
campaign
media.
and a product marketing campaign.
Okay, social media, and then maybe brand. No, social media and products. Products. So social media products.
Product marketing
Okay. Okay.
campaign.
So you can see how I populated this thing here. I just highlight on this and then I draw down this guy, this thing here.
Wait, you highlighted what? Sorry.
The
You
first two,
highlighted the social media and the product, yes. And
exactly. And
then
you draw this, you see this plus showing, you just draw it down.
okay.
Okay.
And
So
then
he populated it like that, right?
okay.
Mhm. And then let's say views. Let's say for social media, we have like 13 million views, 13 million, 13 million views. Let's say for products, let's say we have 12.5 million views. And then let's say this one is 9 million views. So I'll just put random numbers. I'll just use this, randomize it. I don't need this minus. Okay, so we have this value and then clicks. Let's say we have 20,000 clicks. Click is like saying likes, have you? 15,000
Not
clicks.
like clicks is like the like say you open a post and then
Okay.
you go through it, or you open an email and then you scroll through it. That's click. Likes is actual engagement.
Okay. So let's just put, so let's just put um, so we'll leave it as clicks. No worries. I just want to show you something quickly. So I just want to do simple calculations. Then impressions. Let's say you have So let's say we have these impressions. Okay, so let's say we have this impression. So this, let's say this is a data set that you have with you, and then they ask you to what is the total impressions. So there's something called um formulas, right? So there's the formula tab here. So you can see formula tab. You have auto sum. Under the auto sum, you have your sum, you have your average, you have your count numbers, and all of that, right? There are other formulas like financial formulas, there are logical formulas, there are test formulas, there are date time formulas, like that, right? So for this one, we want to calculate total impressions. So when you want to use the formula, you start with equal sign. Okay, you start with what?
Okay.
Equal sign,
Equals
and then
to.
yes, then now write sum. You type sum. By the time you type sum, it will bring out something formulas related to sum. You can see we have some if, some ifs, some products, and the likes. So you want to just click on sum. You understand? Now,
Okay.
after clicking on sum, so because I want to calculate total impressions, so I will highlight the first row for the column call impressions to the last. I'll just highlight this guy. Can you see? And then
Okay.
close my bracket or just click enter. Anyone, close the bracket or click enter. It will give
Wait,
me the
so the
okay.
sorry. When you click on equals to and then sum, then you
Mm,
don't have to write the FX or clinical. You just go and highlight the impressions and then
mhm.
close the
Yes,
bracket.
exactly. So you don't need to write down one. Some people can write it, but it's not necessary. You can just highlight this guy. It will reference the cells, the range of the cells, right? And then just click enter. So this is the total impressions that you have. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Yes.
So I will send you this guy. Just drop it for you. Where can I send it to? Where can you easily access it? Email or where can you easily access this file if I send it to you?
I think you can just add me to the document. Oh no, this is Excel sheet. I think you
No,
can just add me to the document to be fair.
no, I can't add it. This is Excel workbook. It's not a
Yes.
Google sheet.
You can add me to the documents. You can just add my what is it called? Well, I wanted to say you can add my work account, but it's okay. You don't have to do that. You can email it to me, please.
That's easier. So I'll just
Yeah.
call it dummy marketing example.
Shagun, please, just out of curiosity, yeah. I know we are focusing on data analysis right now. Do you
Mm.
know anybody with experience in brand analysis or communications analysis?
If I know anybody,
Yes.
um, I'm not sure. I'll have to think deeply
Okay,
of
that's
someone that
fine.
I know. I know
Okay.
some couple of people that are into brand and marketing, but I'm not sure if they are a marketing or brand analyst. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
So I'm not sure. I have to think and see if they are.
Okay,
So
that's fine.
why do you need someone like that?
Yeah, I'm trying to do like a deep dive. So right now we're focusing on like actual data analysis. But then
Mm,
at the end of the day, you still have to specialize in one part of the data of the analysis
mhm,
aspect. So remember I
mhm,
mentioned that I'm more interested in brand and communications analyst. So
mhm,
while I have this knowledge or this general knowledge that of the whole data analytics scope, I still
mm.
have to specialize in one part. So yeah,
I think
it's
the
just me trying to deepen my knowledge basically.
I get it. So basically, what you can do is very simple. So, like I said, what we are going to be doing is going to be focusing on brand and marketing data. We're going to be using brand and marketing data, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
But at the same time, there are some data analysis concepts you need to learn. So, I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, this data analysis concept is general concept. So it's not like
Yeah.
it's for brand and marketing
It's
alone.
specific. Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just that now we are now picking a domain of as our focal point.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's why I'm saying that most of the data we're going to be using is going to be around brand and marketing data. So that gives
Yeah.
you now for you to get probably want to follow people who are into brand and marketing and they are really using data analysis in their workflows because there are different kind
Work.
of work that happen
Yes.
brand and marketing. As a matter of fact, I was opportunity to speak at the journalism conference last year, right? So what that means is that I have some couple of people that I met there, and now they are using AI to transform journalism, brand and marketing, and stuff like that. So I mean, I have one or two contacts, not even two, like five contacts, and they are part of my LinkedIn connections. So
Yeah.
now there is a way AI is perceived in brand and marketing, not just to do analysis. Of course, analysis is there, but we are going to be integrating AI into the workflows of what you're going to be learning. Is why
Yeah.
I mentioned yesterday that when it comes to brand and marketing, it's not just the design alone. Some people do design, right? Some people create the campaign, which AI can do as well. Some people analyze the data
Yeah.
generated from marketing campaign brands. Do you understand? I mean, marketing campaign done for
Yes.
brands, right? And then the level of communication that happened through that, marketing campaign. So some people analyze that. So there are different areas that you can look at. So now, when they analyze it, they now feed it into AI to be able to create a report. So these are the things that I want to show you while we are working. So it's not just
Yeah.
to use Excel to analyze data. Do you understand? It's not just that.
Yes.
Uh-huh. So it's
Yeah.
while I'm
Understand.
trying to tailor my teaching to this. You can see I'm speaking more of the language you understand,
Marketing. Yeah.
even though I'm not a brand and marketing analyst. But because of my experience in this space, I could teach along a particular domain, right? A particular
Yeah.
domain. Uh-huh. So if I come to logistics now, there's a way I can teach around logistics, right? Because I've had experience around logistics. Do you understand? So,
Yes, I do.
so that's what we're trying to achieve now. Because all this one now, you need to know how to do them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It-
Yeah.
it's not there's a way they do it in brand market. This is how they do it. You're just tailoring
Everywhere.
the expressions, the analysis expressions towards brand and marketing. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
All right. So I'm going to send you this file later on. Okay, so
Yes,
we
please.
have calculated total impressions. You can see how I calculate total impressions. Let's say we're interested in the average views. Average views. Average views. Now, if you are going to do average views, you do equal sign, and then there is AVG, a average as a function. Do you understand? There's
Yeah.
an average as a function, so you click on it, and then you highlight views from the beginning of the first row to the last, and then you click enter. So this is the average views. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So this is the average views. So what I'm trying to show you is that this is just how descriptive statistic is. Now, if I now want to take you to what we call exploratory data analysis, we'll now be talking about pivot charts and pivot table, where you can now compare two columns together. Let's say, for example, you're interested in the audience, right, and the the numbers of views generated by each audience. Can you see now?
Mm-hmm.
So audience by views, by total views, or by average views, anyone. So
Mm-hmm.
this one now is what we call EDA, exploratory. I say EDA is what? Exploratory data analysis. EDA. This is EDA. Do you understand? This is EDA. So when you are saying audience by total views, this is EDA. And for us to be able to do this, we will need to, I will now need to teach you what we call pivot table and pivot charts. Yes, but we are going to get there. Do you understand? So I'm just trying to use the data to show you certain things about,
Yeah.
how statistics works, and then how descriptive statistics works, and how inference statistics works. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. So now, so let's now go to Power Query Editor fully. So what is a Power Query Editor? So Power Query Editor is a powerful transformation tool, all right, that you can use to connect to different data sources, and then you can now perform what we call ETL. ETL means extract, transform, and load. Let me say it again. ETL means what? Extract,
Extract,
transform,
transform, and
load.
load.
Exactly. Extract. So extract means that you are pulling data from a source. Transform means that you are transforming the data after you've pulled it, right, from a particular source. And then load is that when you are done transforming, you are now loading it into a page or a sheet, all right, for you to maybe analyze or visualize. Does that make sense?
Please come again.
Okay. So, like I said, ETL means what? Extract,
Extract,
transform,
transform,
and
and
load.
load.
Mhm. Now, Power Query Editor is a powerful transformation tool that allows you to connect data, that allows you to connect to different data sources, all right, to perform what we call ETL. So when you connect to a data source, you pull the data from that source, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when you pull the data, you want to clean and transform it, right? You transform it. After you're done transforming it, you load it into a sheet or a page for data analysis and visualization. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That is what I'm going to be showing you here. All right, as we move on. So you're going to pull data from a source, you're going to transform and clean it, and then we're going to load it into a sheet. And then we can now go ahead and do data analysis and visualize. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what help us to do that is what we call Power Query. So Power Query Editor is what allows us to pull data and then connect to different sources and perform what we call ETL. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right. So that is clear. Now, there are different data sources. So we have Excel. So we call them text files. We have Excel, we have CSV, we have text file. All right. All these are raw text files or flat files. So you can either call it text file or flat files. So whichever one you want to
Okay.
call it. Flat, flat files. So CSV, Excel, PDF, all these are flat files. All right. And then we have Excel files, right? So Excel file can be a sheet or it can be a workbook. Okay. And then we have what we call database. So database can be SQL Server, MySQL, PostgreSQL. Like I mentioned yesterday, database is a structured data, isn't it? I mentioned structured data
Yeah.
yesterday. It's an example of
Yeah.
structured data. So you can actually connect a database to an Excel book and pull data from a database into Excel. Do you understand? So you can do that as well, right?
Okay. Can I have like an aside this X, SQL server, my SQL? Is
Mhm.
there any like layman's, like how a normal person would understand a database that we can put into Excel? Like, do you take what platform do you take like the data from to then put into Excel?
Okay, so these are the names of the platform actually. So we
Oh,
have
this
a call, yes. So we have a call
okay.
Microsoft SQL Server.
Okay. So what kind of
Microsoft,
data is on this
yes,
platform?
I will tell you. So Microsoft SQL Server a is an SQL relational database management system. So we have a called relational database management system. So see it as a software, right, that helps you to manage a database, right, and everything
Okay.
around the database. So, and when we say database, basically from the word database, it means that you are collecting data and storing them in a central repository, right?
Yeah.
That central repository is what allows you to probably do data manipulation, retrieve the data, perform analytics, manage data and stuff like that. So database is a bit different from Excel workbook or Excel spreadsheet. And the reason why is because database allows for data consistency, data integrity, and easy retrieval of data. You understand? So
Yeah.
I want you to see database as, the way you have your spreadsheet.
Yeah.
We have this spreadsheet. You now have multiple spreadsheets, all right, as tables, now stored inside a database, a central place called database. But these multiple spreadsheets, they allow for consistency of data, they allow for data integrity, all right? They allow for data privacy and security. So it means that you cannot just come and manipulate the data. Do you understand? But
Yes.
when somebody send you a spreadsheet, you can easily go and just enable edit the data that is there and do whatever you want to do inside the spreadsheet, isn't it? But with
Mm-hmm.
database, you cannot just do that because there are certain guidelines or regulations that has been put in place to ensure that data integrity is what is intact. Do you understand? So it is why,
It's a bit
most
confusing, but
companies,
yeah,
okay, though you understand it, you need to listen to this recorded session again. All right.
I will. I trust. I will.
So that is why most companies use this database. Big companies use database because you can't expect to store customer data inside the spreadsheet, a Excel book. No, especially when you are even dealing with millions of customers, you can't store their data on a spreadsheet or Google Workbook. It doesn't make any sense, and you can easily lose it. Do you understand? And then it's not even scalable, right? So it's why companies use what we call database, all right?
Yeah.
Mhm. So database is used, all right, not just to store large amount of data, but because of its integrity feature, its scalability feature, right? Its consistency feature. Do you understand? Is why company use database compared to your normal Google Sheet or spreadsheet. Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, examples of this database, right? This relational database management system is what I showed you, which is the SQL server, Microsoft SQL server. Is a, if you can check it online, it's actually a software. You can install it on the system. If you are doing SQL, it's something you probably learn, right? MySQL is also another flavor of a relational database management system. It's like having, it's like, let me give you, it's like somebody having Power BI and Tableau. They are both used for visualization, right? But it's just are different brands, isn't it?
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh-huh. It's like somebody
Okay, so
having,
say you go.
okay,
Please go ahead. I'll go ahead. No, go ahead.
okay. So
I'll
I
ask the
wanted to give
question
you
at
another
the end of
example.
it.
I wanted to give you another example. It's like
Okay.
somebody's, I have a service provider, network service provider. So somebody can say, oh, I'm using MTN. Somebody can say, I'm using Airtel. But they are both service provider, isn't it? Network
Yes.
service provider. So the same thing with databases. So we have Microsoft SQL server, which is owned by Microsoft. Then we have
Mm-hmm.
MySQL, which is open source. All right. And then we have PostgreSQL, which is also another open source. Do you get it now? Then we have another ones like
Yes.
Oracle DB, which is owned by Oracle. We have IBM database, which is owned by IBM. Can you see now? So these are just different flavors of
Databases.
relational database management system. Exactly. Do you get it?
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that the SQL, MySQL, all of them are like management systems, like data management systems. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Ex-
Okay. So normally people don't like store plenty customer data on sheets. They instead go to the databases to store their
ex-
data and all of that. Yes.
Exactly. Exactly. Especially when you're a big company, you don't do that. But if you're just a
Okay.
maybe small business, like what we call small, medium, and enterprise business, SMEs, you're just starting
Mm-hmm.
business. We can
Yes.
still, because it's not just it's not I mean, what warrants that people use database because their customer base is growing and then they cannot afford to lose their customer data. You understand? But if you are
Mm-hmm.
just starting out, yeah, I mean, you can use your spreadsheet, your Google, whatever, to store your customer data and then use it to to do analysis, create report and stuff like that. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
if you're just starting a business, right, you can do that. But if you're a big company, I mean, a big company shouldn't use Excel book or Google Sheet. The only way you will see a big company probably use Google Sheet or Excel book, probably they want to export certain data from their database. And when I say export, means that maybe just a part of a a part of the analysis that was done on the database, and then they want to export it. I don't know if you can understand. So
Yes.
let's say they have a table and then they perform analysis on that table, and then they want to export it into an Excel or CSV file. They can easily do that. You understand? So, but to manage customer information or data, you cannot use an Excel sheet. Do you get it now? You will need a database. If you're a big company, you
Yeah.
understand? A
I
big company.
understand.
Uh-huh. So these are different sources of data. Web pages is also a source of data, right? People scrape data from website. Like I mentioned, yeah, the last time, there's something called web scraping, right? There's something called web crawling, right? So you can pull data from social media page, platforms, and stuff like that, right? So you can do that if you have some level of access to do that. So these are just different sources, right? But for this course, right, we'll just focus on Excel, workbook, CXV, you know. Yeah, so those two are the ones that we're going to focus on. right? So you, because you have to be, you'll be dealing with a lot of CSVs, a lot of Excel,
Yeah,
workbook.
I'm familiar with CSV and Excel workbooks, to be
Ex-
honest.
Exactly, exactly. So you'll be familiar with. I mean, you'll be using those as um you'll be using those regularly, right? To analyze data, all right? Because most of the data sets will be coming in form of CSV and Excel. Because even if a company is using what we call customer relational management, like what we call CRM, right? Let's say they are using
Mm-hmm.
Salesforce or Zodesk or Freshdesk, for example. Most of the
Mm-hmm.
time, they export their data in CSV or Excel workbook. Do you understand? So they
Yes.
can ask, oh, Dami, we just exported this data from the CRM. I want you to look at it, analyze it, and create a report from it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what that means is that you don't have to worry about, oh, how do I put data from a CRM? No, you can just export it, right? Or somebody has exported it for you, and then you collect the data in CSV format or in Excel format, and then you go and analyze the data and create a report from there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So most of the time you'll be dealing with CSV and Excel, and that's what we're going to be focusing on right now, right? So now let's move further to the things we're going to be looking at when it comes to understanding data transformation techniques, right? So when you are working with data sets, sometimes you have duplicate rows or duplicate records, right? So when I say rules, it's same as records. Okay. So sometimes you learn how to remove duplicate rules. Sometimes you need to learn how to filter rules. How do you filter rules? Sometimes you need to split columns. How do you split columns? Sometimes you might need to merge columns. How do you merge columns together? Sometimes you might need to change data types. We talked about data types last time. How do you
Yes,
convert
we
from
did.
integer to float, right? From float to integer. Do you understand? So
Mm-hmm.
you need to learn how to do all of these things, how to do pivoting and non-pivoting of data. So these are things we're going to be looking at as we move on, right? So we're going to be looking at it, how to perform all of these things, so that when you are working with real data, you know how to perform splitting of columns, you know how to filter rows, you know how to remove duplicates and stuff like that. So these are things we're going to be looking at. And then
Okay.
when we're done with cleaning and transformation, we'll now go into what we call pivot table and pivot chart. All right. Pivot table and pivot chart. So these are the things we're going to be looking at. Okay. As we move
Yeah.
on. Now, I'm going to go back to my Excel book. But before I continue, do you have any questions so far?
No, no. I think some of the things that we've talked about like now
Mhm.
are a bit fuzzy to me, but I think that's just me needing to or having to go back to listen to the teaching again just so that I can think in my brain. I have a general understanding, but for
Mm.
better understanding, I'll just need to go back again.
Yes,
But
please.
I understand everything that you said so far.
Yes, please. Those recorded sessions are very important. It's why we are recording the session so that you can easily go
Yeah.
back and listen to them. Because it's not just enough to just listen and learn in the class. Sometimes you need to stay with these things over and over
Yes.
again, all right, before you can sing properly, all right? Okay. So now, say what I want to do now is that I want to show you how you can actually pull data, right? You can pull data um into an Excel book, all right? You can pull data into an Excel book, right? So that's what I'm going to show you next. So I'm going to show you how you can pull data into an Excel book. So you can pull either a CSV file, or you can pull an Excel book, right, into Excel. And then when you do that, you can now do cleaning and transformation. If the data is dirty, you can do cleaning and transformation. Now there will be different techniques I'm going to be showing you along the line. So you need to pay attention and learn some of those techniques, all right? Because this thing requires that you do hands-on practical learning. So while we are doing it, I'll be giving you assignments, and I hope that you would stick out time to be able to, do this assignment and
Practice.
practice. uh So because it's not just enough to learn this in the class session, you need to go back, all right, and on your own you can even generate a synthetic data, all right, and then practice. Or I can give you data that you can also use to practice. You understand? Mm. So
Yes.
what I want to do now is that um I'm going to forward this thing on to you, all right, and then I will tell you what you need to do in this one, just a basic assignment. And then when we come on Saturday, right? Well, I'm going to now start fully with Power Query. So before then, I will have sent you a data set that we're going to be working with. So we'll learn how to clean, how to transform, all those things I've mentioned in the slides, right? We'll learn those things. And then we'll pick another data again. We'll learn it again in a different way, right?
Okay.
Uh-huh. And then because it's going to be hands-on, right? From ends now, it's going to be hands-on. Where I need to explain certain things is what probably I'll have to take out time to break them down to you. All right, because as much as we are doing hands-on particularly, we also need to explain certain things in a way that will make more sense to you. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send you this one, then I'll tell you what you need to do, some little calculations you need to do here. All right.
Okay.
Using the formulas in Excel. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to continue on Saturday, um, 10 a.m. Right?
Yes, please.
All right. Any question?
No. I'll go through this again. Probably
Mm,
tomorrow after work. I will take time to digest it. And then along the lines, if I have any questions, I will simply just text it to you, and then we can do like a maybe like a 10 minutes revision on Saturday morning,
mhm.
and then dive into the class
No,
after.
no problem. So I'll be expecting those feedbacks from you.
Yes, please.
So I'm going to send this to this sheet to your email, right? After the class. So
Yeah.
you what I need you to do. So you also see it in the email as well.
Yes, I will.
All right. So enjoy your evening.
Thank you
Um
so much. Thank you.
enjoy your evening. Let's catch up on Saturday morning.
Yes, please. Thank you.